Hello and welcome to Not Another Football Podcast, where a Liverpool fan and a Chelsea fan come together to discuss football each week. However, there is no Premier League this week, so we thought, why not do a Liverpool and Chelsea combined Premier League 11 of all time. I'm Luke, this is Ollie. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, thank you, mate. All good. Excited for this fiery and spicy debate that's upcoming now.
I know. Unless we've got similar teams. It's null and void. But yeah, so, I mean, criteria, pretty simple, as I mentioned at the start. Liverpool and Chelsea, all-time Premier League 11. And we both agreed on the formation being 4-3-3. So, it's a good start. At least we agreed on that. Yeah. I might as well just kick us off then, in goal. I know we're going to disagree here, 100%. I've gone Alisson.
Yeah, I've gone Petr Cech. So, agreement straight out of the traps.
I know.
I felt like we were going to disagree on this one, but put your case forward and I'll go second.
Okay. My case forward being that I think Alisson is probably the best Premier League keeper of all time because, who is there other than Cech and Peter Schmeichel?
Yeah,
and I think he's better than both. Okay. So I think he's better than both, obviously. I just feel like as an all-round goalkeeper, he has everything. And that includes, I know how things have modernised with the playing out from the back, but he's better than Petr Cech, as we see when Petr Cech tried putting the ball in his own net for Arsenal. So we already know that bit. And I feel like that plays into the distribution side. So again, Alisson has a tick there. And I also think overall, he's just the better goalkeeper. Positionally, he's always in the right places to make the right saves. Has Cech ever had a game like the PSG game?
Yes.
When
the
against
Champions League semi-final against Barcelona.
Did he make saves like that?
What was he going to rank somebody's career based on one game?
No, but ranking on the ability to actually perform that way. And I think Alisson has just been the better goalkeeper, full stop, and the best in the Premier League that has been seen. So I feel like it's hard to beat him.
Wow. Okay, well, I would say the claims that you make there about Alisson, if we're judging them in this different eras, then I think it's difficult to, put them up against Petr Cech, up against Alisson of today. That is difficult. But if you look at Petr Cech, it was part of the Premier League team that only conceded 16 goals. Yes, I repeat that, Luke, 16 goals.
Defenders
conceded.
Play their part in that.
They do, of course. Yeah. As I'm sure they've played their part in Alisson's.
Yeah, they would have. But let's be honest, we, under Klopp, way more exposed defensively than you were under Mourinho at that point. So
Indeed.
Alisson had a lot more chances to prevent, and his one-on-one ability, by the way, different level. Especially when you're playing high line and stuff, the way we play. So, but sorry, anyway, it's your point. I shouldn't.
Agreed.
Yep.
Well, I think in the quest of way more, I think you would say Premier League titles way more under Petr Cech than Alisson. Maybe catching us up in a few months' time, but
yeah. How many did Cech win? 4.
4, yeah.
Right.
Okay. But one where he didn't really feature. It was Courtois who really featured. So you could say 3, in effect.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. If you picked either keeper, I don't think you're going far wrong.
Yeah, exactly. We'll agree to disagree on the first one. I thought we would disagree on that one.
Yeah, I think I think pretty much nearly every Liverpool and Chelsea fan are going to disagree on that one. All right.
Indeed.
Let's move on.
Next up.
Yeah. Back 4.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone Trent.
Yep.
Van Dijk, JT, and Ashley Cole.
Indeed, yeah. Clean sweep of agreement.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't sure if you would try and put in like a Gallas or something, maybe. Fullback.
I love Gallas. Like, he's criminally underrated as a fullback and as a centre-half, to be fair. But yeah, you'd have to give it to Trent in terms of his achievements, winning the first Premier League with Liverpool, winning the Champions League at such a young age, revolutionising his position somewhat at right back. Yeah, as much as it pains me to say it, you can't overlook that. And I think Van Dijk and JT could stake a very, very strong claim as being the two greatest Premier League centre halves that you've ever seen. So
Yeah.
I don't see anybody above those two. And I know there's plenty of fierce competition across all of the Premier League teams, but for me, those would be the two best centre halves. What a pairing that would be, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I'm in agreement there. Also with, even though we look at the quality that you could have had, I mean, you've already mentioned Gallas, Carvalho, Carragher, Hippier. I mean, they're not as at that level, but to be fair, I mean, Carvalho's pretty close. He was a baller. So was Hippier is really underrated, but I feel like it's because he was so slow. But his positional sense, he really was a good player, and obviously he played at us as well when we weren't at our best. So those kind of things go against you. But yeah, Trent, I mean, the question would have been if James actually managed to play football, I think you might have been thrown maybe a different case. Ashley Cole, I mean, that's a banker, right? Robertson's the closest one in Premier League era, but yeah, still give it Ashley Cole. I mean, he's the best Premier League left back there's been. Yeah. So, all right.
I was thinking about throwing Aspilicueta in there just because of his achievements, but I didn't warrant getting close to Trent.
No, I think that back four with Alisson behind it is very good. Moving on to the three midfielders. Okay. So I've obviously got Gerrard and Lampard, but I wanted balance. So with the holding, I went for Makelele.
Interesting. I went for Essien.
I was close to going for Essien. Yeah.
I was never gonna go without my Premier League team without having Essien in it. So, in my opinion, in his pomp, until he had those two ACL injuries between what would have been 2005 and 6 through to 2007 and 8, incredible, best midfielder, almost better than Lampard at times with his abilities. So yeah, he got in the nod for me, but props to you giving Makelele. I was surprised you didn't go for Xabi Alonso, to be fair, but then again, he went on to do greater things, I guess, post Liverpool.
He did. Even though he was really good for us, I feel like when people remember him, they remember the Real Madrid version. And he wasn't like that at Liverpool constantly because he had fallen out with Rafa. And what is a replacement with Gareth Barry? I mean, Gareth Barry's a decent player, but why? You've got Alonso. But anyway. So what? So it's only Essien that's the difference?
Only Essien that's the difference.
I was tempted to put him in instead of Lampard. Only because... but you got to judge it on the players. That's why I ultimately went for Lampard. But I was like, Gerrard and Lampard have played together before, and it didn't really work. But then it's like, just judge the players. Yeah,
it's for. I mean, one that would have come close for me that I absolutely love to hate is Mascherano. God,
he's so good.
And he was so good in that defensive midfield zone. Yeah,
he was. I just feel like maybe again, the whole Barcelona afterwards. Even though he was, again, really good for us. Big loss, obviously. Yeah. But, yeah, that's what I went for. Let's move on then to the front three. This is where I think we'll have a disagreement. So I've gone Salah, obviously. Yep. I've gone Hazard on the left. Yep. And I've gone Suarez through the middle.
Yep, that's what I went with as well.
You didn't go for Didier?
I wanted to put the king in, but being objective... laying them up against each other, Drogba versus Salah, albeit obviously Drogba's got more
Suarez
titles than him. That's no. Suarez was in there automatically for me. Suarez is the best with Hazard and Suarez. I've seen them both. Who have I got in my team here? Wait a minute, let me just double check. I've got Hazard, Suarez, and Salah.
Yeah,
That's the three that I've got. Yeah. So with my thinking was with Hazard and Suarez, I've not seen two Premier League players carry a team by themselves, and those two did it like continuously throughout different parts of the season or throughout whole seasons. So they had to be in there. And then Salah versus Drogba, yeah, it was a real painful one, but I think you have to give it to Salah.
Yeah, I'd give it to Salah now, especially with, I mean, I know they play different positions, so you would have tinkered around. Yeah. But the longevity in terms of actual just numbers, sheer numbers from Salah and consistency. I mean, people at the end of this season, when you look and probably see the numbers that some of our front three are going to get, I bet they'll rewrite history in a way and say Salah dragged Liverpool to that title sort of vein because of the lack of numbers that have been chipped in from supporting cast. Now, I don't think he has dragged us in the way, really, because he's had such a good team around him. Whereas Suarez, I mean, mate, he nearly dragged us to that Premier League title on his own. Yeah. I mean, I know we had Sturridge and Coutinho and Gerrard, but he was just a level above. I mean, Gerrard was older then, and playing a lot deeper. Suarez could just do things that were out of this world. And I know he only really did it for 2-3 seasons, but the quality in those seasons were just unreal. So
disgustingly good. Like, just dragged your whole team to new heights. It was quite an incredible watch. And Hazard, similar sort of themes, albeit he did have a obviously stronger squad around him. But that, title we won on the return of Mourinho was just a case of passing the ball to Salah and that passing the ball to Hazard, and that continued for a number of years under a number of different managers.
Mourinho definitely didn't want it to Salah.
No, he did not. No.
Salah, different Salah to we know. Well, and it's like with the Suarez thing, I mean, he had like Ali Sissoko playing at left back and an older Glenn Johnson at right back. And the team was just, it was pretty poor on paper, Mignolet and goal and stuff. But I think, so the only difference is then that we've got Alisson, Cech, Makelele, Essien, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So were they the two that you thought we'd disagree? Oh yeah, because you thought I'd have Alonso, right?
I thought. I was obviously expecting a disagreement if I put Drogba in, but the midfield one was a bit of a surprise. I thought you were definitely going to put Alonso in, but like you say, being objective about it, he probably went on to have marked improvements as a player outside of Liverpool.
Yeah, I definitely would say so. But there are teams. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I'm sure there'll be people, if they watch, that will disagree. I mean, it's so subjective, geez. There's so many players who didn't make the cut who you could make very good arguments for. So, that's one team down. Now we're going to move on to the Premier League.
Who's got the best atmosphere?
Well, mate, if you're asking me, I'd have to say either Celtic or Rangers.
Get Brenda in the comments again.
Oh my God, yeah. If anyone doesn't know, the Celtic fans and Rangers fans came for Ollie because he gave his opinion on Premier League atmosphere, and they assumed you just ignored them, which you did because it was the Premier League. But anyway,
be very careful how you use the term British or English on the podcast space.
Yeah,
very careful.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go into the Premier League team of the season so far. I mean, we say so far, it's nearly over, but it is international break, so why not? However, you can only pick. The title is not mathematically over. You're only allowed one player per team to build out this 11. So I went 4-2-3-1. I believe you did too. Right. In goal, I've got Matt Sells from Forest. It was a toss-up between him and Raya.
Yep.
Have you got Sells as well?
No, I wanted to get somebody else from the Forest team. Yes, I went for David Raya.
You didn't fancy Sanchez then, no?
Well, no, as much as positivity I've spread about Sanchez's performance this season, I thought he just missed out, unfortunately.
He was unlucky.
Very unlucky.
So you went Raya. Okay.
I went Raya, yeah.
Yeah, man. We'll get to it. I was so tempted to put him in to put in another Forest player, but I went Sells ultimately. Fantastic season, so not really much to add. I think both keepers have been solid throughout the season, so pulled off many saves and side points. Right back, back four, right back. I've got Munoz from Palace, Gabriel from Arsenal, Howson from Bournemouth, and Robinson from Fulham.
Right. Okay. I've got Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Murillo. I've got Olsen, if I've pronounced that correctly. And I've got Guardiola and as the back four.
You went Guardiola.
Oh, I thought he's had
got-
quite a good seat.
You got 2 left backs.
Yeah, I know, but one of them could play right back as well.
Jeez.
Fullbacks.
Oh yeah, okay. You've turned into Gary Neville. He did this halfway through the season for Guardiola. He got absolutely butchered for it.
He's got a mint job on Sky Sports and he talks to football, and they got way more listeners than us, so you should be so lucky. It's back to Gary.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I wouldn't have. Well, he wasn't even in contention for me. Guardiola, Murillo was. I definitely was tempted by him, but yeah, no, I didn't go down that route. I'm surprised you went Guardiola.
I just think he's been there. I don't know why, but I felt pressurised to get a Manchester City player in there, and I thought he's the best of a pretty bad bunch this year.
Well, I got a spoiler for you. I've got no City players.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah, yeah. Haaland had a case because I was thinking, but he hasn't been great, but he still scored a ton of goals. What is he, second or third highest goal scorer in the league? Ridiculous considering, by all accounts, he had a bad season. So I was tempted by him, but ultimately I didn't. Midfield 2, before you get into it. Well, we'll just say midfield 3, but I'm playing 4-2-3-1. So the 2 in the pivots, I've got Tielemans and Bruno Fernandes. And then ahead of them,
great defensive midfielder that Bruno Fernandes is. But yeah,
hey, he's played there and he's been United's best player. So, and then attacking mid, ignoring the last 8 weeks, I've gone Palmer.
Just letting that slide.
Yeah, I mean, he was so good at halfway of the season, and he was the last player I put in. I was just after the players I'd used from the clubs. I thought, okay, I'll go for him. I actually wanted Gibbs White as well, but I couldn't because I went Sells. But yeah, what's your midfield 3?
Yeah, I wanted Gibbs White in there as well, but I'd used Murillo up, so I went with McGinn instead of Tielemans because I think he often goes uncredited in terms of that midfield and has played exceptionally well both Champions League and Premier League. I put Caicedo in there. I think he's been our best performer. And then I had Bruno in the number 10 in his rightful position. Albeit I'm not his biggest fan.
Coming from the guy who's just put Guardiola at right back.
Yeah, we'll gloss over that.
Yeah, we'll gloss over that. At least Bruno's played in the pivot as a 2. No, that's fair. Caicedo's been much better this season, to be fair. He's shown more signs, hasn't he? Or shown more signs of the actual Brighton player you bought. McGinn out there, ran out of clubs.
Yeah, rogue choice. But you've got to have a rogue one in there, haven't you?
You do. Yeah, I mean, McGinn's had a good season. I thought Tielemans has had a good season because he's basically played a lot more and actually been very effective. Because when he first came in, he struggled. There was talks of him leaving, so I think he's turned that around. Yeah, fair. Palmer. There we go. Right, front 3. Salah.
Yep.
Isak.
Yep.
And this is where I've cheated a little bit. I've put Brian and Buemo, and he doesn't play off the left. He plays off the right. So, but I'm pretty sure he could do a very good job off the left.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to go with that. I mean, Brentford have got where those players have sprung from is quite incredible in terms of and their level of consistency. I mean, what are they now? 11th in the table?
Mm-hmm. Is it 11
points? Yeah, I mean, they could finish close to 50 points easily.
Yeah, easily.
It's just phenomenal, really, when you think about it.
Another great season.
Yeah, and play really good football as well.
Thomas Frank can't deny that he's been fantastic. I mean, he's due a bigger move, I would have thought. Don't know who to, but
yeah,
there's got to be clubs thinking about it.
Definitely.
So
maybe he goes to Yeah,
Who's your
I
front three?
went with Salah, Isak, and then another rogue one because I felt obliged to get a Brighton player in there. So I went with Mitoma, albeit I know he's not been anywhere near as strong as he has been in previous seasons. But yeah, I thought I'd get him in there. I probably on reflection, I think probably you were better shout there with Mbuma. I forgot about him, to be fair.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, mate. Another consistency. He epitomises Brentford, like the consistency levels. And when they kind of go under radar a little bit now because they've become the team like, yeah, I expect them to do all right. But then you look and you go, actually, they're doing really well. So they kind of lose the credit sometimes. It gets a little bit lost. But yeah, so Matoma, yeah. See, yeah, he's had a lot of purple patches this season, I feel like.
Yeah.
Where he's done really well for a good few weeks, but then he's just dropped off. But Brighton,
but
I looked at Belieber for midfield, but I went with Timbers.
I had him in and then moved him around. Yeah.
It's a difficult one, though, when you can only pick one per team.
It is indeed. So how many matches did we get there? So we got 1, 2, 3 with Bruno. So 2 front line, 1 in midfield, and then 2 at the back. We both had
Robinson and Howson, yeah.
Howson.
I think it's pronounced. Howson.
Who knows? We're not on Sky Sports.
No, we're not. Well, if we were, we're Paul Merson. So.
Yeah, true. So that's matches of nearly half.
Yeah, take that. I think considering the parameters on it, decent teams. Yeah. I mean, but it's just for the Guardiola one. But I did throw in Buemo off the left, so I'll let it go. But yeah,
maybe if you played him right back, they would be further up in the table this season. Who knows? Maybe I know more than Pep.
Maybe it may get you in there. Yeah, you probably would have done a better job than Rico Lewis there, to be fair. But yeah, if you are listening, let us know your comments and thoughts on the teams that we discussed. Who's your team of the season at the moment, if you had to pick one per club? And the combined Liverpool and Chelsea Premier League 11. We'll be back we'll be back next week, so go out next Monday, but back for the Premier League to discuss that once the international break is over. So if you are listening on YouTube, subscribe. And if you're listening to us, well, we're now available on Apple Podcasts and also Spotify and Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, all pretty much everywhere you can listen to podcasts on. We are there now. So if you're listening to us on any of those platforms, please review the podcast, share the podcast. That'll help us grow. So we appreciate that. But until next week, we will see you then.